When we talk about communication, most people immediately think of words, but words alone don't tell the whole story. Talking is not simply producing sounds, it's about creating meaning, following rules, reading context, and relying on subtle cues that allow us to understand one another. Today, let's explore how we talk. We'll look at how language creates meaning, how grammar and semantics shape what we say, how speech acts and pragmatics guide our interactions, and how cooperation makes conversations possible. Let's begin with language and meaning. Language is not just a pile of words. It's a system of signs we humans have developed to represent our world. Every word we use is a symbol, and it only works because people agree on what it represents. Take the word rose. Its dictionary definition is simply a flower, but very few people hear the word rose and stop there. Connotations immediately flood in. Love, Valentine's Day, anniversaries, maybe even a memory of someone giving you flowers. Words always carry these two layers. Denotative meaning, the literal definition, and connotative meaning, the cultural and emotional associations. The same goes for the word snake. Denotatively, it's a reptile. Connotatively, it often implies danger, betrayal, or sneakiness. That's why in movies, villains are sometimes compared to snakes. Think about politics too. The word conservative or liberal may be neutral in a dictionary, but in real life, those words trigger strong emotions and stereotypes, depending on who's listening. This is why language is never neutral. Of course, words alone aren't enough. We need rules to combine them, and that's where grammar and syntax come in. Syntax determines the order of words, and even small changes can completely alter meaning. Take the sentence, "The cat chased the mouse." If we switch it to "the mouse chased the cat," the same words suddenly tell a very different story. Different languages handle syntax differently. English usually follows subject-verb-object order. I eat apples. Japanese, on the other hand, often uses subject-object-verb.
My apples eat.
If you've ever tried learning a new language, you've probably stumbled on these differences. Without shared grammar, our words would be chaotic, like puzzle pieces thrown on the floor with no picture to guide them. But structure is only part of the picture. Semantics deals with meaning, and here context is everything. Consider the word bank. In one situation, it means a financial institution. In another, it means the edge of a river. The same word, two completely different ideas. Semantics helps us resolve this ambiguity. We also use semantics to interpret figurative language. When someone says, "Time is money," no one runs to the bank with a clock. We understand it as a metaphor. Time is valuable, so don't waste it. Another example, the phrase, "break the ice." Literally, it sounds like smashing frozen water. Semantically, we know it means starting a conversation in a social situation. These everyday expressions remind us how deeply meaning depends on context. But here's the twist. Even semantics isn't enough. Knowing definitions doesn't tell us what people really mean in everyday life. That's where pragmatics comes in, the study of how we use language in context. Imagine you're in a cold room. You say, "It's cold in here." On the surface, you're making an observation. But pragmatically, you might be hinting, "Please close the window." Or maybe, "Turn on the heat." This is why tone, relationship, and setting matter so much. The same words can carry very different meanings depending on who says them and when. Pragmatics also explains politeness. Instead of demanding, "Give me the salt," we usually soften it to, "Could you pass the salt?" Not because we think the other person is incapable, but because politeness oils the gears of conversation. Another example, sarcasm. If someone spills coffee on your book and you reply, Wow, great job. Pragmatics tells us you don't really mean great job. Context flips the meaning. Language is more than talking, it's action. Philosopher J.L. Austin pointed this out when he said that when we speak, we don't just say things, we do things. Take promises. Saying, "I promise to help you," is not just describing an intention, it's creating a commitment. Apologies, declarations, commands, congratulations, all of these are speech acts. Think about weddings. When the officiant says, "I now pronounce you married," that's not just a statement. Those words change reality. Two people go from unmarried to married in an instant because of language. Even everyday examples show this. When you say, "I apologize," you're not just giving information, you're repairing a relationship. That's the power of speech acts. So how do conversations flow as smoothly as they do? Philosopher H.P. Grice gave us one answer: the cooperative principle. He argued that people generally try to be cooperative when they talk, and he identified 4 maxims that guide this cooperation. First, the maxim of quantity. Give just the right amount of information. If someone asks, "Where's the nearest gas station?" it's unhelpful to say, "Somewhere in this city," and overwhelming to recite every possible route. Second, the maxim of quality. Be truthful. If you tell a friend, "The exam is cancelled," when it isn't, you break trust. Third, the maxim of relevance. Stay on topic. If someone asks, "How was your weekend?" and you reply, "I love pizza," that's irrelevant. Unless, of course, your weekend was all about pizza. And finally, the maxim of manner. Be clear and orderly. Instead of saying, "The object for cleaning footwear is by the door," just say, "Your shoes are by the door." When we follow these maxims, conversations flow naturally. When we break them, miscommunication or humor can result. In fact, comedians often play with these violations. Think of jokes where the punchline surprises us by being irrelevant or ambiguous. So why does all of this matter? Because how we talk is more than just noise. It's meaning, action, cooperation, and culture all woven together. Think about a time when you misunderstood someone. Was it because of unclear words, mixed signals, or hidden connotations? Maybe the grammar was confusing, or maybe the speaker broke one of Grice's maxims. Whatever the reason, it shows that talking is a fragile but powerful process. The way we talk shapes our relationships, our identities, and our ability to work together. Whether we're giving a formal speech, writing an email, or sharing a joke with friends, we rely on these invisible systems, grammar, semantics, pragmatics, and cooperation, to make sense of it all. Talking may feel ordinary, but it's one of the most extraordinary human abilities. Through language, we don't just describe the world, we shape it. We make promises, share emotions, solve conflicts, and create communities. So the next time you have a conversation, pause for a moment. Notice the structure, the meanings, the unspoken rules at play. Language is everywhere, and it's doing much more than we often realize.